Let's do this thing. Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. We're, as always, we're going to wait until about 1:03 to do anything, but I'm here in chat. So if you guys want to say hi or ask a question, let me know. I'm here to say hi to everybody. I'll just say hi right now. If you see me look this way, it's because that's where my chat is. So forgive me if that's a little distracting, but it is what it is. That's true. I did really clean shave for this picture. That is absolutely the case. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm gonna adjust my zoom. I have a small strangeness going on here. All right, that's a little bit better. What's up, everybody? Kendra's here, Marie's here, Desiree's here. Good to see you guys. Bob's here, as always. That's pretty cool. Kat's here. What's up, Kat? How you doing? Mr. Wright, as always. Pleasure. Everybody. James. Hey, man. Good to see you. All right. See, now I got this problem. So like if I put Zoom over on this screen, then I have to look to talk to you guys, but I can either look to talk or I can look to talk into my slides. So I don't know. I feel like I like to face the camera better. So all right, while we're doing this thing, everybody, very clearly, is it over 70 degrees Fahrenheit where you are right now? Give me a yes or a no in chat so I know you're all here. Over 70, because it got really warm for like the last one day for us. What's up? All right. Oh, poor Ryan. I'm sorry. Unless it's like, oh, Kinder, you too. Wow. Yeah, it's like 74 where I'm at. Well, Paul, you're nearby, I think. Bob says one. I love it. That's how I usually do stuff. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Cool. Another minute and we'll go into this sucker. So that's pretty good to hear, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks all for coming. This is pretty fun stuff to do for me, so I like that we can do this. All right, I'm gonna mess with my display for one more second, and then if it doesn't work, it's fine, no big deal. Okay. All right. We actually had an emergency slide we had to put in this morning on this presentation. It's like the first thing we're going to talk to. We'll get to it in a little bit. So, um, yeah, all right. This is the second presentation today, so if I'm a little bit lower energy, y'all, that's why I've had to do two big hour-long presentations today. But all right, so here we go, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming for Office Hours Q2 of 2026. Um, for those of you who don't know me, first of all, welcome. Second of all, why in the heck did you spend a bunch of time in a cybersecurity presentation with some random guy from Sacramento flapping his mouth at you? So I appreciate that. My name is Steve. I am the security practice manager over here at Endsight. I've been here coming up on my fifth year, and I've been in the industry in either cybersecurity or IT for coming up on my 30th year. That's who I am and what I do. That's my buddy Loki. He's always with me. He's right over there right now. Um, I have been doing this kind of thing. Everyone that's in security really, really likes keeping people safe and protecting people. We all have a little bit of a hero complex. So uh, there you go. I do have all the big certs. So the CISSP, CCSP, and CISM are all right there. And that's what I do. This is what I'm here for. This is why we make these videos. This is why we do these webinars. It's for all y'all. I work with Endsight, so we do all sorts of great stuff that is not just commodity IT for the people that are in this chat but do not know who we are. We do more than just commodity. I'm the security side. We also have really great AI and automation. We have some good dev. We have data. We have fintech. We have all sorts of cool stuff. And we also have some pretty cool awards, which I'm going to skip through as quickly as I can, but I got to do these slides, or Jason Claus, who's on the webinar, will kill me. The biggest part of these awards that I'm really proud of is every year we go to the biggest cybersecurity conference for MSPs, so that's our kind of company in the world. All the big companies show up there and they have a capture the flag event. For those of you who've been on my trainings, you've heard this before. The capture the flag event is basically, hey, we're going to hide these little strings in places attackers would look, and like places you could hide data and steal stuff from an organization, and you got to find them and put them in a web page. All the best MSPs take participation in this, and we've gotten second 2 years in a row. So listen, if you move to Edmonton, the best MSPs up there, and they're doing a pretty good job too. At least they're the ones that do well in this competition. But we're second on the planet, so we're pretty happy with this. We got a pretty good team here. And please know that the people protecting you, if you're an Endsight client, are pretty strong. And all the information that I'm going to give you today from the internet and the world is good. It's real stuff. It's stuff we've actually sourced. So A little bit of housekeeping, as I always do. So I see a couple of new, thanks, Belden, appreciate that. I see a couple new people in here. So we'll do the housekeeping. So in case you haven't heard what you're signed up for here, which I don't know why you go to random cybersecurity presentation without knowing, but we'll leave you there. This is a high level discussion, right? We do have another training called Cybersecurity Fundamentals, where I tell you not to give the babysitter your Wi-Fi password and not to connect your stove to Wi-Fi and tell all sorts of fun stories about my dad getting compromised by Microsoft. But that's not what this is. I'm not going to give you like user-based stuff. This is risk assessment things. These are things I'm going to tell you about where the money's going in the world, where the bad guys are going in the world, big developments, things that might change coming forward because security changes so much. So this is where I tell people, hey, I'm thinking about this thing and it's worrying me, and we're going to do some stuff. So there's that. This is for your C-suite, right, or your executive leaders, IT leaders. If you are, line staff and you're like a receptionist or an assistant or an attorney or something like that, welcome. You're totally welcome to be here. There's nothing I'm going to share that's like secret sauce, but not going to be super actionable for you. So again, not tactical, not user focused, generalized stuff. Now, this time we have a fairly packed agenda. There was like 5 or 6 things that happened this quarter that are significant, right? And I want you to give me a 2 in chat right now, looking at this agenda, if the thing you wanted me to talk about was here. Let's see if I'm landing well. If you saw something in the news and you saw something that you wanted me to talk about, give me a 2 in chat. It's here. Angela, thanks. Hi, Tiff. Good to see you. Give me a 3 if I missed something. If you think there's something I should have been talking about, but I'm not. That'd be fun. I would love to. And if you give me a 3, then you also have to tell me privately what you think I'm missing because, as you know, we try to plan these agendas as early as we can, but stuff happens in cybersecurity like literally this week. So there you go. Christopher, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right, all. So cool. That's a pretty good landing. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is the shutdown. So as you all know, when I do these presentations, I'm not making political commentary. It's very, very important that we stay away from that. My politics are not important. This is not a political call. However, the government is experiencing another shutdown. And I don't think anybody here is under the impression that when the government shuts down, it actually shuts down, because that's clearly not the case, right? There's lots of agencies that are still staffed and still have minimal skeleton crews, et cetera, et cetera. But it's shut down, and CISA is shut down right now. And I say shut down, but y'all know that means shut down-ish, still providing some services, but also providing not other services, et cetera, et cetera. So when I say CISA, so CISA is a and infrastructure security agency. So this is the government's anti-hacker arm. What we get from CISA more than anything is guidance on, hey, this big bulletin came out and we're seeing this across America, or we're seeing financial challenges with this organization, or we're seeing cybersecurity upticks from this country, or oh my gosh, there's this really bad vulnerability that just came out. They give bulletins every day, and I probably read a third of them just out of curiosity, but they're one of the ways we use OSINT, which is open source threat intelligence. That's me saying, how do I evaluate the riskiness or security of a product, a program, an approach, something to that effect? I do use CISA's advice as one of my points of reference for this. So I'm checking for some people in the chat right now. Don't see them, but if you are one of our clients who has asked me to do a security review for you, and if you are a managed security client, this is covered in most of the plans of, we're bringing in a new vendor, or we're doing a new process, and a lot of that's been AI lately, right? Is this safe? What do we do? Most of our clients have some process for, we want to bring in a new vendor. We don't know if it's any good. Can you analyze it? CISA is one of the ways we do it, right? There's also private threat intelligence. There's also AI searches. We also look on forums, Reddit, Bleeping Computer. There's Slack forums, MSP Geek that we do. So it's another data point for that. And they do give organizational guidance to companies around America. But look, y'all, give me a 4 in chat if you think if you get hit with a cyber attack, the government's going to come help you. Belden, they're not. Bob, maybe. But the reason I say that is we're not making billions of dollars, right? Of course not. Thank you, John. I agree completely. Um, and only if I have oil, says somebody. That's appreciate that one. That's funny. Um, the truth is, um, unless you're dealing with billions of dollars or nation state actors, and we have had that in our client base once or twice, where I have to sign a form from an agency, right? And we talk to this agency, and then I don't want to know anything else about what happened because I'm out of that. That does happen, but for the most part, agreed. There's not going to be, the government isn't going to help. They're not here to save you. We're not making enough money. We're not dealing in Bitcoin or national security, most of us, right? And so I would say CISA being shut down is not a tactical challenge at the moment, right? If you were to come to me and say, Steve, oh my gosh, what can't you do now because CISA's down? I'd say, I get fewer emails, right? Yeah, that's true, Bob. I know. I'm aware. But you're unique though, across some of our clients, so that's pretty neat. Bob has a service that is actually relatively sensitive, and I'm not going to go any further than that in the call. Um, but I would say that specifically for American small to medium business, what you should know is currently a significant portion of our cyber defense for America is shut down. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think America's cyber defense was ah effective, right? You all know that, right? Give me a five in chat if you know anybody that's been compromised by someone who wasn't in America, and go and right. Thank you, Megan and Ryan. I appreciate that. Right. Everybody, we get very few compromises from Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Like it's not a thing that happens all that often. So, in saying that, um, America's cyber defense is generally pretty weak. We've known this for a very long time, and in fact, in the war nowadays, cyber defense in general is pretty weak. So this is I wanted to take a minute here to kind of recognize this, right? Um, and I'm very, very specifically saying defense. And I am aware that we are talking specifically about American governmental institutions when it comes to CISA, because I don't think anybody in this chat is looking for the government to tell you how to protect yourself, right? They've got a couple of tools out there. Orca is one of them, but they're not great. Right? They're not as nearly as good as private industry stuff, which is why we use private industry stuff, of course. Um, but please know that we are in a time where America itself is particularly vulnerable, and of course the bad guys know this, and they're not all bad guys. Maybe they're just adversaries, right? We're not going to talk about who's a good guy and a bad guy right now, except maybe North Korea. But they're trying to get us, and we don't have a heck of a lot of defense. Now, America's government does have a fairly well-developed cyber offense, which, makes sense when it comes to like the NSA and some of the hackers that we have around here. But no country really has a great cyber defense. The point of the reason I'm telling you this may have a market effect in the future. One of the reasons I have these calls with everybody is I say, hey, look, I don't know what's coming next, and it's going to change. If you're one of my managed security clients out here, you absolutely know that we layer security because I can't just put one thing in and go, you're safe. We have varying layers of product, we have varying layers of service, we have varying layers of process, right? People, process, technology are the things that matter. You got to do them all. In this case, the government of all of the other nations in the world kind of knows we're a little vulnerable at the moment. And this is the slide that I put in here an hour and a half ago, because this is a relatively recent thing. And there's a link that's at the bottom of this page that you can get to. And obviously we'll put it on the recording page where you can see like what's going on here. But just know the American government's not really protecting us. Not that they really super were from a cyber defense perspective in any time, but we might see an uptick coming. And we're a little bit bracing for impact on that. Cool. Thank you for that. Everybody, give me a 6 in chat if you know that Claude Code got leaked before I go any further with this, because this is interesting. Oh, delightful. Several people. Okay. So, fabulous. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you. Here's what happened. Okay. Anthropic, the company that makes Claude, had a portion of his code leak that assists developers in programming. So what Claude Code does, and please, if you're an AI expert out there, don't hang me for this. I have to give it this as a basic explanation. I know it does more than this. So there is a part of Claude, which is an AI agent, just like ChatGPT, probably better and more developed than like Grok, for example, but ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude are in the same-ish range. I know I'm making generalizations. Don't hang me if you're an AI person watching this in the future. Um, and this is the part that helps people program. It's a very specialized portion of the AI agent that says, listen, I want to make this software program or I want to make this script that does this thing, write it for me and help me test it, right? What was actually leaked was the source code for that specific portion of Claude code. So it was the thing that helps people make programs. It's not a useful thing when it comes to attacking people, but it is a useful portion of making code. And I'm sure Anthropic is absolutely pissed off about this. And I'm sure they're furious. And it's been on GitHub and it's been forked a whole bunch of different times. But it's not like somebody's got Claude out in the world. They might, but this security incident doesn't indicate that it's a problem. And when I say security incident, I know it's human error, right? Um, Give me a seven in chat if you think you know why it happened, because that's my next point on this. Do you have any theories on what happened? Belden, you're probably right. Kat's almost certainly right. Jimmy, you're right too. I'm certain of it. Bob, I know you're right. Megan, you might be right. It's possible. So everybody, give me an eight in chat if the next bullet point surprises you. It's a phishing attack. Anybody surprised? Amber, are you really? Come on, no, you're not. You know, I know. I know Amber well, so like she knows. But the deal is everybody. We used to think hacking was like people that look like me in my dad's basement drinking Mountain Dew and playing World of Warcraft and breaking through the firewall. It's really just tricking people now. The technology, and I think if you're an Endsight client, we now require it. So you have this tech. The technology to prevent ransomware and to like look decently as a security operations center at what's going on from an activity standpoint is well developed, right? The bad guys, and this is a reason we have these calls. Everybody, hear me on this. The bad guys have pivoted. They're just trying to trick you. That's it, right? I mean, yeah, are there, according to the previous slide, are there bad guys out there like doing technological attacks, breaking through firewalls, et cetera? Of course there are. But for American SMB, that's not the big, we're not big targets, y'all, right? We don't work for General Electric or Microsoft or AWS or Ford or pick next Tesla, pick next big company with either a lot of money or a political target or something, right? For every side of the argument you're on, right? You have an enemy, right? You may hate the Coke industry, you might hate Tesla, you may hate Twitter or X, you may hate Coca-Cola, right? There's lots of things. So those are the big technology targets. We're not. We're the ones that you're going to get tricked. And in fact, almost every single almost every single attack in Microsoft 365 has been a configuration error. Admittedly, Microsoft has been compromised, like for real, broken through and through a flaw in the software. It's happened, but it's far, far less common, multiple orders of magnitude from the amount of times we see just you set this up wrong or somebody made a mistake, right? So when I say, what does that mean for us? Right. This is more of a reinforcement that if you or other executive leaders think that there's something I can just install and then you're safe, it just is not a thing anymore. It just I can't do anything by just being like, I got the tool. We have great tools. Don't get me wrong. We have a world-class security operations center that we use. For those of you who are on this call with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, even though it was just compromised, I still think it's one of the best things out there. Everything gets hit at some point, right? When I look for vendors that challenge me that I don't want to use, like vendor validation and this type of thing, I'm looking for a pattern of behavior. I'm looking for reasonable alternates, and I'm looking for repeating lies, right? Here's a really good example, right? Everybody knows Microsoft's been compromised. Windows has been compromised. Defender's been compromised several times, right? There's not a good alternative. There's there's not. I don't have something that is a really decent, equally performant alternative to Microsoft 365 or to Windows 11. I don't have it, right? So the deal is we accept that risk. There's nothing I can do about this, right? Um, Claude was compromised, but it wasn't Claude specifically. It was their code generation thing, and it was just a source code. They didn't lose any data, they say. So, do I have a challenge using Claude as an AI tool when people are asking for it? I do not, right? That's uh, pretty interesting, but there's not there are plenty of alternatives to Claude, but I don't think this is a big enough problem. But if you talk to me about LastPass, which was compromised through a phishing attack twice, and they lied to us twice, uh, now we have a bigger problem. So when LastPass got compromised, they're a password manager, by the way. When they got compromised last year, sorry, it's 24, so 2 years ago, they get compromised. The first thing they said is we didn't get compromised. Then the second thing they said was, okay, we got compromised, but no user data was stolen and everybody's password's safe. And of course, the truth came out that that was not true at all. And there are plenty of other password managers out there, and the cost to switch is low. So when we're doing a risk assessment and I'm trying to come to a leader and say, here's the business case, the financial risk based case for you continuing to use this product or switching. That's a lot of what we're doing. So that's how we do with vendor validation. I say, A, we have looked and it looks like they're doing the best they can. That is never me saying they're never going to get compromised. And it's never me saying that they're completely flawless. It is what we would call a commercially reasonable effort. And that's on behalf of our clients. If you were to ask me to do, for example, vulnerability elimination, I want no vulnerabilities in my environment. I will tell you, no problem. That's relatively feasible. We have to reboot your firewalls twice a day and your computers 7 times a day to patch absolutely anything that gets an update every single day forever. And all businesses will go, nope, can't do that. Of course not. That's not possible. So we accept certain risks because it's not commercially reasonable for me to do stuff like that. In the same way, it's not commercially reasonable for any of us to say this will never happen. It is what we have to do is say we've done our research. We validated against like a SOC 2 report, for example. I do several of those for clients. We look at those all the time. And we say, hey, this is the best thing we got. In Claude's case, was a mistake for sure. It will definitely happen again. It wasn't an egregious leak. It wasn't an egregious error. And Claude still remains one of the top AI tools out there. Now, again, we're not making comments about whether or not you like AI. I have several clients that will literally fire us if we send an AI generated email. I talked to one of them yesterday. And I have several people that absolutely love AI and want to plug it into absolutely everything. And those are both things. Whether you want to do that or not is your call. I will say that AI, just like everything else, is a tool. Got to learn how to use it. In this case, Claude seems like it's still fine. Maybe we find out more later. So what I don't want is this recording to come back and bite me and say, hey, we're fine. They were totally fine. You should always use Claude forever. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is cybersecurity is the fastest changing part of the fastest changing and lowest customer service sector in the world, technology. Thank you, Comcast, for that. It's going to change again. We're going to keep up to date on it. But that's what happened with Claude Code. This is the most recent, interesting. It's AI related and it's also a leak, but it's not so bad. So if you have any questions, shoot them in chat. I am watching. I have 2 at the end, but I will definitely take more. We'll have some time for them in the end. Next fun topic that doesn't keep me awake at night, and this is why everybody doesn't want to be in security. Give me a 9 in chat if you heard about the Aura identity provider breach. Let's see if anybody here heard about that. Another couple seconds for lag. Megan, you are plugged in. I'm digging this. It's pretty impressive. All right. So everybody, Aura is an identity provider. This is like GoGo or any one of the other people that validate identities for people. So this is a large data broker whose job it is to keep your data, sell it to people, and keep it safe. And give me a 10 in chat if you've ever heard of the company Equifax. That's a gimme. I better see a lot of 10s in chat. Oh, weird. That's just so odd. I'm glad you guys are awake. Thank you. So give me an 11 in chat if you or anyone you know has ever had their data on the dark web in some way you found out about. Right, right, right. And now, finally, give me a 12 in chat if anybody you've ever known has gotten a text message going, hey, I need to buy these gift cards for this client, but I'm in a conference. Go buy them and give me money. Right. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Gimmies. Intentionally gimmies. Right. So here's the deal. Somebody comes to you, they come to me all the time, and they say, Steve, how'd my data get on the dark web? And I go, it's on the dark web. Everybody, listen to me very carefully from now until forever. The internet is an archive. The dark web is just a dark archive, but it's an archive, right? That's how the internet actually works. It's just what we put up before. There are some dynamic web pages that change that a little bit like Amazon, but hear me out on this. It's just an archive, right? Your data is on the dark web and it is for sale and it is not expensive, right? Gmail account right now with the passwords, I think $17. A cloned Visa is like 25, right? The passport is 100. Those are rough prices from about 6 months ago when we looked at the last marketplace. This is how it's out there. So if you take nothing back from this, from your teams, to your loved ones, to your friends and family, it's somebody having your email address or having your password. Get ready, Aaron. I'm going to ask you for it first in a second. Having your email address or having your text message or phone number is not a good enough reason to give them information. And there is actually a searchable website called Have I Been Pwned? And that word is spelled PWNED. We're super creative. Thank you, Aaron. Perfect timing. Where you can look it up if you'd like to. And what you can do with the information is nothing. But you can know, and we do these scans all the time for clients, right? You can actually Google your email account, your personal email account, or your corporate account. And when you look at this website, and by the way, we did do a live demonstration on one of these previous calls. The video is on the site if you want to check it out, like what it actually does, how much it costs, how it works, all that kind of stuff. But it's a publicly searchable database of breaches, and definitely only the good guys use it. Give me a 13 in chat if you believe me. Yeah. So your information is out there. If you and Christopher, thank you very much. That's a good point. I like -13, you guys. That was nice. Oh, that was funny. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you did not initiate the call, do not give them any information is a perfect quote. Christopher just sent that to the hosts in chat. It's a fantastic point. Just like with your bank account. If your bank calls you and says, give us, we're your bank, you go, hell no. You flip over your ATM card, you call it back your ATM card, right? You call a known good number. As a reminder, and this is one of the few kind of tech tips we'll give on this call, nothing on the internet can look right. It can only be designed well. I can make something look like anything, and I have your personal information, right? So back to Aura, because that was a small tangent there of me just saying, don't trust anybody ever, including me on this call. Just maybe I'm an AI. You wouldn't know, right? Give me a 14 in chat if you think this came from another phishing attack. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So again, reminder, I don't have a piece of technology that prevents your users from giving away their passwords to the wrong people. Erica, good to see you. Appreciate you. And now Aura says, and Christopher, this slide is made mostly for you. My best friend Christopher writes in the chat, and he's absolutely skeptical of people lying to us as I am, which I love. And they said no customer information was ever accessed. Aura is just marketing, right? Just like Oracle said, and then had to retract it. Just like Co-op said and had to retract it. Just like Marks and Spencer said and had to retract it, right? Do I believe them? Clearly, I don't. Give me a 15 in chat if you also may think they may not be telling the truth. That no customer information was accessed. That's kind of a sad state of affairs in like our society right now, where I'm like, well, the company goes, nothing was accessed, and everybody goes, BS. Right. Agreed. 100%. Now, here's what this means for us, right? And this is what it means for personal business information. All of the compliance frameworks, all the insurance frameworks, and all clients that I've ever seen, when they ask, did you do your due diligence of like vendor evaluation? And by the way, this is clearly the quarter of vendor evaluation and security and global stuff like that. They always say, did you check the privacy policy and the security reports of your vendor, right? Not one of them has ever said, did you check to make sure the vendor was not lying? right? Because you couldn't, right? That's an unreasonable standard. That's not a commercially viable, commercially reasonable standard, right? So when we were doing business stuff, we're doing policies and we're protecting our things. We kind of got to take this with a grain of salt, and we also have to take it with a grain of context, right? So, for example, if Aura is accidentally mingling personal information with marketing, you might not hear it, but we would believe it happened, right? It might be something you don't know about. So the context is we're doing our best to look. And it's reasonable to say, well, Aura said this one time here once where they made a mistake. Okay, like give me a 16 in chat if you didn't know that Co-op, the company, said there was no public information and then had to come back and say there was. Give me a 16 if you just didn't have that information until this slide. Right. Totally, completely normal to not. Like this is a small organization, right? And I had to look myself, right? I had to look and say, okay, who else lied to us? But if it was Microsoft, you probably should have known because that's a big ass company, right? So the point is that the reasonable efforts depend on how much data you have in there, what size of the company is, how big their marketing budget is, how impactful they are to the US economy or the global economy, et cetera, et cetera. We're trying our best here, everybody. And if you haven't seen the number, in 2025, we think the bad guys had about $10.5 trillion because Bitcoin is public and we kind of know how big the industry is. And that's massive. And I don't have $10 trillion, so we're doing our best, right? And in this case, you should know that, oh, give me a 17 in chat if you have any employee that's ever started with you and then posted about their brand new position on LinkedIn and you put them on the website, like your corporate website. Right, right. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm on Endsight's website and I definitely put on LinkedIn that I work for Endsight, right? So I'm just saying that public information's out there. Your business information, like your financials, may not be. Hopefully, that's kind of my job to hopefully it doesn't work like that. But we got to be careful with what we're sharing. One of the things, and I mentioned this last time, we're still looking into this, is everybody give me an 18 in chat if you joined a Teams call before and you see like fireflies.ai join or otter.ai join or some other weird tool that you didn't know somebody was using and it's like taking notetaker.ai is another one. Right. Thank you. Okay, good deal. And we're all 100% certain that whatever the random friggin' company that was is definitely keeping our data safe, right? And stories like it's like some vendor or somebody else on the call and you can't control it. So we're still considering limiting third-party apps from Teams calls because deepfakes are getting so strong right now that you might not be able to tell soon, right? So the deal is for business and personal information to kind of bring it back around so I don't go off on another crazy tangent about how mad I am at Aura. Um, we're doing our best. Your business information may very well be out there. Contact information may very well be out there. It's very, very likely it is. And give me a 19 in chat. And this one I expect fewer on, so don't lie to me, because Santa knows if you're lying. Give me a 19 in chat if your new user orientation training contains some part of we're not going to text you and ask you for gift cards or something like that. Like people know you work here. So mine does, just so you know. Just so you know. That's fantastic. But you can tell there are 50 participants in this call. I got two or three, depending on we got somebody talking only to host, which is fine. Nice, Paul. Hey, there you go. It happened, right? So every single person that starts with Insight gets a text message from Mike Chaput, who's our owner, our big CEO owner guy, the majority owner. Actually, Mike's a great guy. He's very, very charismatic and easy to talk to. And it's always, hey, I'm in a meeting and I want to bonus a client. Can you go down to Target? I need you to do some stuff for me, but don't call me and don't ask if it's really true. Right? Happens to everybody. Everybody, give me a 20 in chat if you've been to our fundamentals training and you've gotten the part about multi channel verification where we say, hey, use different methods of communication if something weird happens. Heck yeah. Thank you. Everybody, just to kind of put a finer point on that, you should have some kind of a process if anything weird is going on. Change of information, weird request, vendor request, change of bank account, where somebody picks up the dang phone and calls people. That is really a big deal. I really I'm not trying to cross promote the two things, although I am. I am in both of them. It's a really big deal to call a second time because stuff like this are a breach means they already have your information. They probably already have a tremendous amount of data about your organization, right? And they probably already know who they're talking to and what their position is. So if you don't have it in your new user orientation training, maybe consider as a takeaway from this particular call saying, hey, this is the only way we're going to call you or talk to you or ask you to do anything crazy. And if the friggin' CEO texts you, it wasn't them or the chairman of the board or whatever. Cool. Thank you. Moving on from interesting stuff. Here's Fortinet. Give me a 21 in chat if you are aware that there have been some attacks on firewalls, many vendors in the last couple of years. I keep doing this so I can take drinks. So you know. Weird. So you guys are aware about firewalls getting attacked. So here's another one. So this link will, of course, be on the page as well. Attackers leveraged AI to compromise 600 Fortinet devices, right? So in case you haven't been aware, and I'm definitely not going to ask you in chat because I'm pretty sure you know, AI attacks exist. I know. Be still my beating heart, right? Very shocking. But this is different than scanning, right? So I'm going to go, give me a 22 in chat if you've heard all of our communications and theories about why VPNs are no longer safe. Spectacular. Oh, that's nice. Thank you guys very, very much for this. Awesome. So let me do a little bit of background. I'll reel it back a little bit and tell you about what's going on here. So firewalls at organizations, especially small to medium business, look, give me a 23 in chat if you have a $10,000 firewall. Right, of course not. You shouldn't. No, well, none of us are that important, right? So you're talking about a single digit in thousands of dollars device, maybe even under $1,000 device with limited processing power, and the job is to basically effectively protect you from the internet and give you and route your data to the internet through technology. It's not important. If I say NAT, nobody will understand except the few techs in the room. So they connect you to the internet and they keep you safe-ish. Well, the truth is that but with the massive advancements in AI, computing powers, rentable data centers, et cetera, the processing power on our small office, home office, small business firewalls just can't compete with the dramatic amount of power available to the bad guys, either in just simply like renting Amazon Web Services. In fact, the highest performance computing environment for Amazon is like 20 cents a minute. It's not that expensive if you're a foreign nation, right? And that's a lot of power. The point is, firewalls really, really can't keep up with that, right? You're going to overwhelm them and find some hole at some point. And in fact, people are, and that's what we'd call normal firewall scanning. If you want to be techie about it, it's crawling or spidering. But the point is somebody out there with a machine going, what's open? Tell me what's out there. And Aaron, if you're around, I'm going to ask you for the other link now in a second. There is actually a publicly searchable database called Shodan, Aaron, shodan.io, so you can link it for me, everybody, where you can actually search a database of compromised accounts. And if you were on the call when I did that, good for you. Give me a 23 in chat if you were on the call when I showed Showdown off and I showed, hey, here's how you do a search of the databases out there. Right, cool. Thank you guys. I'm glad to have you here. That was fun. Thank you, Aaron. That is the exact link. There, literally, you can just search compromised stuff out there and just start scanning it. Right? That's neat. You got to respect the craft. I don't think it's a good guy thing, and of course, security researcher thing, right? Only good guys. So tools never fall into the hands of the bad guys. It never happens, right? So that's what I would call scanning. Hey, here's a list of things I got from Showdown. See if there's any open doors. And like, it's actually super, super interesting in there. If you like search for cameras, you can see people cameras on the web that haven't secured anything. It's a thing. But why is this different, right? So when it comes to AI, people go, oh my gosh, Steve, AI is going to write these programs and they're going to code and hack me. And by the way, give me a 24 in chat if you've heard of Claude's Mythos, which I will talk about momentarily after this. So that I can just give you a list of compromised accounts and you're scanning. James, I said 24. You gotta pay attention, man. Come on. That's fun from a attacker perspective. AI is a lot more interesting because I can say, here's a list of every flaw that's ever happened to Fortinet devices. Go find all the Fortinet devices you can and try everything and see if you can build an attack chain, which is also neat, right? You have to respect the craft a little bit. I think these people are going to make me old, and I didn't have nearly as much gray hair before, but this is the difference between scanning and not. Scanning is looking for an open door that's already open and walking straight in, right? That's very trivial, basic levels of hacking, and that's when this is. I am talking now about technology, right? Somebody breaking through a thing. That's a deal. Um, in this case, it's I give you a list of attacks or a place to or even a place to search for targets. I give you a list of the targets, or even I tell you, here's Fortinet's webpage of all of the flaws. Here's a database I have access to for $60 for a lifetime membership of all the flaws. Combine them and see if any of them work, and then get in and tell me what they are. Actually, not a significant coding challenge, right? I am certain I've got two or three people in this chat. Hi, Kat. Hi, Christopher, who can do this. Like, it would take a while. I may not have that skill. Other people do. Right? This is a thing that exists, right? So it's pretty neat. So the reason I'm saying this is if I haven't told you it's going to change, it's going to change. And it's going to change again. It's going to change after that. And that's why humans are super, super important, and process is super, super important when it comes to security, because the tech's always going to get beaten. Everything's going to get broken. Everything, right? And when you ask me, and going back to vendor evaluations for just a moment, if vendors are safe, I is this thing safe? Like, oh my, at the moment, sure, until the end of this phone call, maybe they're safe. But I wouldn't say that I could tell you everything is going to be safe. And what this is going to evolve into, everybody. So again, going back a little bit to the VPN thing, is the firewalls that y'all have at your offices. And look, I got one 30 feet that way in my house, right? They're going to provide access to the internet, and that's it. You shut everything else off. No VPNs, no hosting services, no poking holes in the firewall to get to your web page, right? No remote desktop from the outside, none of it. It's going to be gone because that firewall and its processing power can no longer keep you safe. And genuinely, I think we're pretty close if we're not already there. So this is one of those things I like to tell you in these calls that has changed. This is changing. Endsight's recommendation of having no VPNs, period, which was what we had to do beginning of 2025 and start really, really enforcing second half of 2025 because we had a lot of SonicWall problems. It's just the year of SonicWall, and that's not saying they're any worse than anybody else, right? That's going to change to your firewall has nothing from the outside. If I can scan it, it's wrong. And in fact, PCI scans do this already. A lot of security vendors do this already. A lot of insurance companies do this already. If I can hit anything on your public IPs, it's a failing. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just not okay. So if you're an IT administrator, hey, Belden, what's up? Hey, James, what's up? If you are IT, please understand, at some point, it's going to be all either hosted services in the cloud or no remote access, right? Just the remote access is going to go through like a VPN style, like give me a 25 in chat. If you're familiar with Zero Trust Network Access, we call it ZTNA. If you're an Endsight client, it's probably Cloudflare. Heck yeah, let's go. The difference there is the connection negotiation happens outside your firewall. I'm offboarding all the holes that we'd have to open, all the accounts we'd have to log into, all that stuff gets sent out because I don't think your firewall's powerful enough anymore to protect you. And firewall may be an outdated term. In the past, we called them routers, right? And they just moved traffic. They didn't have any distinction. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking that might be where we're going back to, right? Because it's just that little tiny white box in your server room may not be good enough. Cool. All right. We got 16 minutes. We're good. Let's talk about scam centers. This is the fun one. Let's do a little bit of fun one. So nearly 1 in 4 Americans, according to Pew, and I kind of trust Pew's research. That's a real research arm, have been manipulated and sharing personal information through emails, texts, or calls. Give me a 26 in chat if you know someone that has been. And Bob, I see your question about safe alternative to firewalls. I got you. That'll come. Promise. And Christopher, I'm aware firewalls and routers are technically different. Don't get me wrong. I know. Okay, so the New York Times did a killer article on a scam center in Myanmar. And this will be on the thing too. If you want to read, if you're interested in some of the stuff that I read and see, it's this kind of stuff. And this is Very cathartic, everybody. It's like a takedown of the bad guys, and you're like, oh yeah, they got him. But I'll give you some highlights from the article, right? So, um, these people have an ideal customer profile. Give me a 27 if you know if you have an ICP in your company. What's my ideal customer? Yeah, anybody got that? Because we do. We absolutely 100% have an ideal customer profile. You understand the concept, right? What person or company is best for my services, right? In this case, y'all are gonna love this, and uh, I can say this mostly because it's basically me. Their client profile: older or middle-aged white males. 100% that is what they are shooting for because older white guys in America, this is their impression. I'm not trying to make a cultural discussion here, so let me be very clear. This is what the bad guys think, and you can evaluate in yourself whether or not it's true, right? Older white guys have monetary resources, could be lonely, definitely have to trust their decision making skills because they're guys, right? And maybe have some kind of religious or political beliefs. I have religious or political beliefs. I trust some of my opinions, right? I'm 44 next week. So like I'm their target profile. And it turns out we're way more profitable than everybody else because we're lonely. We want people to talk to us, or we want to make decisions and protect people, and we want to have all the power and authority. It is what they're going for. So just know that the amount of research that goes into scamming people is similar to the amount of research that goes into doing normal business activities. This industry is an industry now. It's 100% industry, right? The scamming methods were fun too. They had a lot of cool stuff about like how would I get you to believe that I am who you think I am, and then how would I get you to give me money, and how do I introduce FOMO, and how do I keep you going? There's like a different part of every attack chain. One to get you in, one to keep you on the phone or keep you doing stuff, one to get into your computer, etc. They have a whole thing for this, and they think that about $10 billion in 2024 was stolen from people who admitted it. Give me a 28 in chat if you think you know someone who may have gotten scammed and won't say anything. Yeah. So there has been research, and forgive me, I don't want to misquote it. So I don't know where it's from. But having to admit you were wrong or you were tricked pings the exact same portion of your brain as a physical attack. So saying I got scammed is the same problem as getting punched in the face in your brain's eye. Not sure that's the right sentence, but people want to know, hey, how do I protect my friends and family? Right? Right. The truth is, education. Have a and if deep fakes are coming, right? You're getting people whose voice is going to sound exactly like they should. Give me a 29 in chat if you've ever had kids and your kids and you have a safe word. If I send you to pick someone to pick you up and they know the safe word, they can pick you up. Or if you someone you don't know, you have said safe word, right? My parents did, right? 100%. Turns out that's multi-factor authentication, right? Something you have, something you know. I have your name, or like I have my car, or information about your parents, and like I know, like that's good. Everybody should have that, right? It's a good idea. Back to the government, though. I'll tell you about what the government's been doing here. So there have been several awesome takedowns. If you want to look here at PBS, right, there's a takedown of a scam center and how we got through, and there was gongs when they won things and piles of money and stuff like that. But not all of them are crazy useful. Right? Give me a 30 in chat if you're under the impression that we blow up a building and scams are going to stop from that area. Right. By the way, thanks for your participation, everybody. I really like it. It keeps my energy up. Um, Look, what do we do? What do the governments do? Listen, these are things governments can do, but you're trusting the government of Myanmar to take down their own scam sites, and I don't think they're government run, but intergovernmental scam sites. And listen, I'm sure there's scammers in America that the U.S. government's not doing anything about. But the truth is a lot of this is about loneliness. A lot of this is about FOMO. A lot of this is about speed. And I mean, both personally and professionally, right? Education, um, critical thinking, awareness. I'm going to say legal angles because there's a lot of elder abuse and stuff like this. But for the most part, from a business and risk perspective, so what we're supposed to be talking about here, as my mind keeps wandering and I start complaining about scammers, is training. There are bad guys. Here's what you do if you get a bad email. You'd be surprised how many clients do not have okay, let's do this. Give me a 31 in chat if you have a written process for what somebody is supposed to do as your organization if they get an email and they don't know if it's good or bad. 6, 7, 7 of 49. So literally 1/7. That math was nice and easy. All right, that's some, and that's good, but that's like the most common thing, and it would take you like 15 minutes in AI just to have that thing. Here, just take a screenshot. By the way, give me a 32 in chat if that involves forwarding the email to somebody else. Good. Oh, Bob, don't do that. The reason I'm saying it, email's contagious. You forward a dangerous email around, it might be somebody else might click it. Send a screenshot. It's easier. There's your tip. There's your tech tip. All right. And I don't want to call anybody out. Bob and I have had many meetings together. He's quite secure, actually. So, no, you're good, man. Okay. All right. We're going to summary and we'll go to questions. So, summary. We didn't even get a chance to put the CISA slide in here because we literally added an hour ago. CISA's down. Does it matter? Eh. Claude code. Listen, I understand AI is coming. And one of my buddies calls it the wrong answer machine, which I think is hilarious, if I'm honest with you. It's coming. It's only going to get better, right? There's going to be breaches. It's a tool like everything else. So if you haven't been to our AI office hours, I'm going to put a poll up. Well, Aaron's going to put a poll up in a little bit about do you want to come to AI office hours? It's really, really cool. Brian Tirado, who's one of the managers that works at Endsight, one of our directors actually, has really, really great topics. He's really good at helping this stuff. He knows about Codex, which is similar in ways to Claude Code and ChatGPT. So there's all sorts of cool stuff here. Just like every tool, you got to be careful, right? Don't just pipe things into it and do whatever you want. AI happens to be a little bit more of a get your security in place first because AI can see everything. And if you've misconfigured something, your users are going to have it next day, just instantaneously. That's the first one. So personal information is on the dark web, everybody. It's on the dark web. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your employees, tell your colleagues, tell everybody. If they have your email, that's not good enough reason to give them information, no matter how convincing they are. There are some very, very charismatic people out there. I'll let you know when I find one. Um, I may have ranted about that before I hit the slide. Sorry. AI. The difference between AI and scanning before is thinking. And we all know it's not thinking. It's flowchart, it's inference, but it feels like thinking. Here's all the things. Try all the things at all these things. It's a pretty good thing. That's going to be strong. And so what that means for us, what the difference is I don't get to do security through obscurity anymore. I can't just be like, well, I hope they don't notice. Because they will. AI will try everything. It'll find everything. So little holes become big holes. That's why from the managed security program, we do layers of security because maybe, oh, Bob, that's a great story. Bob and I were working with another vendor. One of his vendors got compromised. Had nothing to do with Bob's company. And we saw it through our tools. Their tools didn't see it. I'm sure they were using fine tools, but it was a really interesting thing that did happen because we had more layers than they did. The one of our nets caught the bad guys, but none of the other companies' nets caught them. It's very, very interesting stuff. So just don't think I can install things and go safe. It's not a thing anymore. And finally, there are scammers out there. And a reason I'm starting to focus more on scams is because they're humans and it's humans doing stuff, right? It's humans tricking humans. All right, so I got 7 minutes left. Let's go through the quick summary real quick. As always, you haven't heard from me. Whoop! People, process, and technology are the things that matter. If you think I can just install something, it's not going to work. If you think you can just tell people not to do something, it's not going to work. If you send somebody to one training class, it's not going to work. Just like with your house, right? Nobody thinks that your fence is going to keep you safe, right? That's not a thing. And your business doesn't just get to have a backup. Be like, yeah, totally safe and fine. Got them all. Got to have them all. And look, if you want to talk to us about it, I'm going to just really quickly jump through this because I don't like doing a ton of sales, right? Poll number one, you want me to have a chat with you about this and you want to be an MSSP client or you just want to talk to me about it? Like, heck yeah, I love this stuff. That's why I do this. That's why I run the security team. And I am not on the sales team. So if you want to just have a chat about how well I think you're doing, oh my gosh, reach out. It'd be fun. I love talking about this. Poll for that. Now, let's talk about next sessions. These are the two tentative next sessions. The marketing team is trying very hard to get me to pin down an entire year's worth of schedule. I think I'll be okay. But there you go. If you ever ask me what I'm going to talk about next quarter, I don't know. It's going to come next quarter. So sometime between now and then, we'll figure it out, right? Probably be AI again. AI is the hot topic right now. So it'll be the next crazy nonsense that happens there. But if you want to talk about AI office hours exist too, right? You should go to this. This is neat. Um, so I really think Brian does a fantastic job about teaching you at least how to use the tools. A completely free resource from Endsight teaching you how to use AI and giving you tips and tricks. It's a cool value add, right? I'm actually kind of proud of this. And if you want to join me on security registration, security webinars, go ahead. Join me. We do this once a quarter, and I love this kind of thing. It'd be cool to have everybody join. All right. I got two questions. I got 5 minutes. So the first one I want to do is I want to address Bob's question. What's a safer alternative to a firewall or a safer alternative to a VPN, right? The truth is, your firewall should not have anything exposed to the internet. You want to connect two sites together with a site-to-site VPN? Totally fine. Currently, that technology has not been broken, right? Remote access VPN should be zero trust at this point. The authentication of is my username and password correct? Can I get into the network? Should be off site elsewhere, away on some large rented server infrastructure with a ton of power, like Microsoft, for example. If you can use 365 for an identity provider, the person that does the scanning and the testing to make sure you're logged in properly, that's the way for sure. I just don't think it's safe to put a user a local firewall and go, yeah, probably not getting broken into because it just happens too much, right? So that's the difference. VPNs and safety. You're welcome, Bob. Appreciate you. Thank you for asking the question, man. That was nice. Okay, now the second one is AI websites and whether those websites can be redirected to enterprise subscriptions only, or is it sending users to the free versions of these software applications? I do not know of a way right now to say you can't use this unless you've paid for it. Don't use our free tool or only use a tool once you've logged into it. I don't know that I think that actually exists in AI at all right now. So if there's a way that I can redirect someone to Chat GPT enterprise only and you can't use it on a work computer, and somebody on this chat knows, please tell me because we don't think there's a way. So what we are doing right now is effectively blocking all AI tools, and all is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sense because the new ones keep popping up all the time. We're blocking as many AI tools as we can and unblocking the one that specific client uses. Some use Claude, some use OpenAI, some use Copilot. I have a couple using Gemini, right? And that's the way to do it. I don't have a way to redirect the website to a specific enterprise application. I'm sorry. It's a cool question, though. That technology may very well come. I can see that being useful, and I think the market's probably involved in that. Um, and the second question I got, and I don't know if the person who asked this question is here. So if you are, please, this is not an attack. And I need to preface this because I have some opinions on this. The question is, for the past year or so, I'm getting a large amount of spam, junk, etc., and making my way into my Yahoo email box. I've tried blocking it and marking it as junk, but the rate of emails don't appear to change much. Any ideas? I'm also not, and also don't trust unsubscribe links. So here's the first thing. One of the main reasons Yahoo lost the email race to effectively Gmail was they got extraordinarily radically breached. I think it was 1 billion of their accounts got hit. And I want to say it was about 2002 to 2003, but someone in the chat may correct that timeline for me if anybody wants to research and tell me when the big Yahoo breach happened and put it here. Thank you. I just don't believe Yahoo's safe anymore. The accounts were out there, the usernames and passwords were out there, people's emails got dumped on the web. It's just Yahoo doesn't have the same level of spam filter budget that Microsoft or Google does. They're just not as big anymore, right? So the truth is, I think the problem may be endemic to Yahoo, but it's hard for me to be like, just switch your email address you've had for 4 decades. Like that's a little rough. So what I'm saying is some unsubscribed links are good. You get one from Amazon or Constant Contact, it's probably okay. Other unsubscribed links I can see. If I've never heard of this company before, how do they have my information? It's contextual, right? Unsubscribed links are kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. You can try them. That being said, I think it's probably time to move off of Yahoo. I don't think their spam filter is very effective anymore. And yes, they're 20 years out probably from the breach they had, but they didn't really recover. Right? That's why Yahoo kind of faded from awesome into not as much. So it's one of the reasons we use Microsoft 365 or Google for most of our stuff because they're big with modern spam filters. Yahoo's probably lagging. It is 1:59. If there are any other questions in chat, I'm going to sit here and take them for a few minutes. But beyond that, thank you all very, very much for coming. Had a really nice time. I love doing this thing. Hopefully I'll see you guys was in July or whenever the thing was. Let's go back and check. July 23rd. Hopefully I'll see everybody July 23rd. And it's It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming. Desiree, thanks for coming. Anybody else? Mark, hey, Mark. Hey, I'm glad you made it, man. All right. Scott, thank you as always. Paul, as always, good to see you, sir. Mr. Plunkett. Hello to you and James, sir. So, yes, Megan, Microsoft does have challenges with spam. We have some solutions for them if you want to talk about them, and they're probably included in your license. I have some interesting ways to deal with it if you want to just send me an email. I'd love to. Oh, I got 24 people left. Who's asleep? Tiff's definitely asleep. Ah, Angela, that's kind of you. Thank you. I like doing them. I really do. It's fun. It's good stuff. Megan, you're too kind. And I'd love to have you. Send me an email. Let's talk about Microsoft Spam Filter. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can help. Cool. Everybody else asleep? Jimmy, did you fall asleep on me? I like calling people out that I know and I've had Peter, this guy, sir. I like calling people out because a lot of the clients in this chat I have a real strong reputation or a relationship with. I talk to them all the time and it's fun. Angela's one and Peter's one and Megan's one and Jimmy's one and lots of stuff. Oh, Peter, thanks, man. Yeah, Pitney Bowes did get breached. That was fun. I know. Thanks, man. Anybody else? Any other questions? I'm going to give another minute just in case. Some people like to wait till people leave so they don't see that I don't answer a question publicly. I'm not going to ridicule anybody ever, but you should know. Cool. All right. I think that's probably good for now then, everybody. Awesome to see y'all. Thanks for the participation. Keeps us all awake. See you in a couple months.